All right, let's talk about one of the most powerful and, honestly, unsettling classics of modern Japanese literature, Osamu Dazai's No Longer Human. This book, it's not just a story. It's a deep, deep dive into the mind of someone who feels completely and totally disconnected from the human race. I mean, just look at this cover. It practically screams existential dread. This book has a reputation for being a masterpiece, for sure, but it's also known for being a really tough read. And that's because it asks a question so big, so fundamental, that it can kind of make you question your own reality. So, what is that question? Well, it's this. What if you just didn't get it? What if all the basic human feelings, all the instincts and social rules that everyone else seems to understand automatically, what if they were a complete mystery to you? That is the core of what we're going to explore through the protagonist of this novel, a man named Yozo Oba. Okay, so the three faces of Yozo. The book kicks off in this really cool, kind of mysterious way. We have an unnamed narrator who stumbles upon three photographs of Yozo, each from a different time in his life. And with every single photo, the feeling of dread just gets deeper and deeper. These pictures are our first clues into a truly broken identity. So this first picture is of Yozo as a little boy. And at first glance, he's a cute kid. But then you look closer. The narrator points out that his fists are clenched so tight. Nobody smiles like that. It's not a real smile. It's this ugly, forced thing, what the book calls the grinning face of a monkey. Then we get the second photo from his student days, and it is somehow even more chilling. He's this incredibly handsome young man, but again, something is just wrong. The narrator says his smile has no substance, no what he calls the heaviness of blood or the solidity of human life. It's like you're looking at a perfect, beautiful mask, totally artificial and completely weightless. And that brings us to the final and most monstrous photograph. It's just a blank, a completely expressionless face. The features are all there, but they add up to absolutely nothing. It's a face so empty, so devoid of a person, that it fails, in the book's words, even to leave a memory. So how do you make sense of these three horrifying pictures? How do you get from that first creepy smile to that final empty face? Well, the narrator finds Yozo's private notebooks, his confession. And this is where we finally get to look past those empty images and into the mind that created them. And here it is, the very first line of Yozo's story, one of the most famous opening lines in literature. Right out of the gate, he tells us everything. He's not just a little different, he feels like he isn't even part of the same species as the rest of us. He's fundamentally and completely alienated. Now, what's so fascinating is how deep this alienation goes. It's not just social anxiety. He literally doesn't understand the feeling of being hungry. He sees a train bridge not as a way to get across tracks, but as this weird artistic puzzle. When people tell him he's lucky, he's absolutely convinced that he is living in hell and that they are the ones who are unbelievably fortunate. The most basic building blocks of what it means to be human are like a foreign language to him. So how does a person like that survive? Someone who is just terrified of other people, who doesn't get them at all. Yozo develops this incredibly powerful, all-consuming defense mechanism. He decides to become a clown. He calls this act clowning, and he says it's the last quest for love I was to direct at human beings. I mean, just think about that for a second. For him, this isn't about being funny or happy. Making people laugh is a desperate survival tactic. It's a way to deal with a species he fears without ever letting them see the terrifying void inside him. And his logic is this perfect, tragic circle. 1, he has a mortal dread of human beings. 2, but he can't live without them. 3, therefore he has to make them laugh. And 4, that way he can keep them entertained but at a safe distance, remaining safely outside their lives. And for years, this whole strategy actually works. Yozo becomes the funny guy, the class clown. But in high school, his carefully built mask is threatened for the very first time. And it's by the last person on Earth he would have ever expected. So, during gym class, Yozo intentionally fumbles on a horizontal bar, just to get a laugh. As everyone is cracking up, this quiet, unassuming classmate named Takeichi comes up to him and whispers 5 simple words. You did it on purpose. In that one moment, Yozo's entire world just shatters. Someone saw through the act. This isn't just him being embarrassed. For Yozo, being truly seen is the ultimate terror. It means exposing the monster that he's convinced he is. This one little discovery sends him spiraling, absolutely terrified that his secret is about to be revealed to everyone. So, in his panic, Yozo desperately tries to befriend Takeichi to make sure he stays quiet. And in this really strange, ironic twist, the very boy who almost destroyed him ends up giving Yozo what he calls two demoniacal prophecies that basically set the course for the rest of his tragic life. The first one happens after Yozo does something kind for him. Taichi is amazed and just blurts out, "I'll bet lots of women will fall for you." The second happens after Yozo shows him his secret, tormented self-portraits, these drawings that Taichi calls ghosts. And he tells Yozo, "You'll be a great painter someday." So there they are, women and art. These two paths become his only tools for trying to navigate the world. And that really leaves us with the book's central haunting question. Yozo is terrified of his true self being discovered, but the mask he wears is completely exhausting and hollow. So it forces us, the reader, to ask, what do you do when you believe deep down in your soul that you are not quite human? If your true self really is a monster, is a life of performance the only way to survive?